On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury, a strike campaign targeting Iran's missile and drone network and the command infrastructure tied to its nuclear program. Iran's response was swift. The Islamic Republic moved to restrict access to the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical oil choke points on the planet. It's not a full blockade. Iran can't hold the lane shut under sustained US pressure. But it doesn't need to. Mines, missiles, drones, and the constant threat of ambush are enough. Daily ship traffic dropped from around 140 vessels to single digits. And here's the thing. Ships don't even need to be hit for trade to grind to a halt. If insurers and ship owners decide the risk isn't worth it, the effect is the same as a closed strait. So the real question isn't whether Hormuz reopens. It's when, and who stands to gain the most when it does. Stay with me, because the restart won't happen all at once. It'll unfold in 3 phases, and I'll show you how investors can position themselves early behind the companies set to move when Hormuz comes back to life. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow strip of water between Iran and Oman, a valve that controls the flow of the Persian Gulf. Roughly 20% of the world's oil supply has to squeeze through it to reach global markets. Iran's move wasn't to lock the door, it was to turn the hallway into a kill zone. Threats, drones, missiles, mines, enough danger to make every captain think twice. The US and its allies moved quickly. Escorts, surveillance, air defense, rapid strikes, keeping passage technically open. But markets don't price possible, they price deliverable. The question was never, can a ship float through? It was, can it arrive safe, on time, insured, and financed? The answer, for most, was no. War risk premiums exploded, crews refused to sail, and traffic fell off a cliff, from 140 ships a day to under 10. A 93% drop through one of the world's most critical energy arteries. That's effective closure. The cost showed up instantly. Supertanker day rates jumped from $326,000 to over $600,000 in just 4 days. In a Hormuz shock, there are only 2 roles: payers and collectors. Some companies are forced to absorb higher costs, others get to charge them. As an investor, knowing which is everything. What follows is a 3-phase framework for the reopening, each phase with its own winners, its own losers, and its own signals that tell you when the next phase is beginning. Catch those signals, and you can rotate at the right moments as Hormuz comes back to life. This isn't investment advice, and no framework guarantees success, but it gives you a structured watch list and the triggers to make more informed decisions. Let's get into it. Phase 1 begins the moment the world can't agree on what safe means. Ships can still move, some do, but every voyage is a gamble, and the market prices it that way. Here's what tells you we're in Phase 1. War risk quotes climbing week over week, tanker rates spiking and holding, oil swinging wildly on daily headlines, and every new incident rewriting the rules overnight. Call this the volatility rent phase. The people selling certainty get paid. The winners are the toll collectors. War risk insurers like Beazley see profits surge alongside premiums. Crude tanker owners like Frontline benefit from a shrinking pool of willing ships. Fewer vessels on the route means day rates explode. And low-cost oil producers like Occidental gain almost automatically. When oil spikes on the logistics sphere, their margins widen fast. The losers are the forced payers, airlines and shippers burning fuel they can't hedge or pass on. Refiners and petrochemical buyers in import-dependent regions, caught between rising feedstock costs and weak end demand, with nowhere to go. The playbook is straightforward. Split the landscape into 2 baskets. Basket A, Phase 1 collectors, insurance, tankers, low-cost upstream. Basket B, Phase 1 payers, fuel-intensive transport, import-dependent chemicals. When Phase 1 signals are rising, overweight A and underweight B, and set your exit alarms. When war risk premiums stop climbing, escorted transits stabilize, and tanker rates start rolling over, that's the first sign Phase 1 is ending. Phase 2 begins when panic stops accelerating. But the danger hasn't gone away. Fewer shock headlines, fewer sudden freezes, but more rules, more escorts, more procedures. Here's what tells you Phase 2 has arrived. War risk premiums are still elevated, but they stop spiking week over week and begin to stabilize. Tanker rates cool from their peak, but stay well above normal. Naval protection becomes more consistent, scheduled escorts, tighter corridors, clearer guidance. And the language in defense headlines shifts from urgent response to funded orders, deliveries, and backlog. That's the key rotation. Phase 1 paid the sellers of risk. Phase 2 pays the sellers of security. Winners shift toward defense and protection, companies turning fear into hardware and long-term contracts. Losers don't recover yet. Energy import-heavy manufacturers still carry the risk tax. Airlines stay pressured as long as routes run longer and fuel stays elevated. Here's your playbook for Phase 2. On the long side, winners are AeroVironment, RTX, Lockheed Martin, and optionally Palantir. On the short or hedge side, high-beta crude tanker names, war risk pure panic exposure, and fuel-sensitive cyclicals like certain airlines and shippers. Phase 3 begins when the market finally believes the lane is usable. Not perfect, not peaceful, but predictable. This is the moment the fear premium starts bleeding out of the system. Escorts become routine, incident frequency drops, insurers stop repricing every headline, and transit counts climb week after week, not just for a day. Here's the trap. The Phase 1 toll collectors can stop printing money fast. Phase 3 is a rotation. You shift from getting paid for security to getting paid for rebuilding. Here's what the signals look like. Transits stabilize above the panic lows. War risk premiums trend down for weeks, not hours. Tanker benchmarks like TD3C roll over and stop climbing. And oil volatility calms, even if prices stay elevated. Winners move toward the companies that repair, replace, and harden the system. Defense still matters, but now it's replenishment and upgrades. Ammo, air defense, drones, multi-quarter restocking rather than emergency buying. Energy infrastructure and services come into focus. Inspection, maintenance, and throughput expansion. The unglamorous work that keeps pipes, ports, and power running. And select refiners and industrials can recover as delivered crude stabilizes and freight costs cool. On the long side, Technip Energies, Siemens Energy or ABB, and Caterpillar. On the short or fade side, high-beta crude tanker names, detour beneficiaries like Maersk and Zim, and container vessel lessors like DAC and GSL. This is where investors get paid for being early on the rebuild and disciplined on the fade. Before any of this translates into trades, we need to talk about risk, the specific events that can flip the timeline, break the signals, and turn a well-positioned phase bet into a trade that's suddenly fighting the tape. Risk 1. De-escalation moves faster than expected. If diplomacy or deterrence snaps into place, Phase 1 and 2 trades can unwind in days, and panic winners give back gains fast. Risk 2. OPEC Plus changes the oil price anyway. Even if Hormuz stabilizes, a surprise production decision can move crude hard and drown out the shipping story entirely. Risk 3. Government procurement is slow. Defense budgets can look enormous on paper, but contracts, timelines, and deliveries lag, meaning Phase 2 winners can stall before revenue actually shows up. Risk 4. A global slowdown hits capital expenditure. If growth weakens, rebuild projects get delayed, and Phase 3 names can underperform even as the strait normalizes. Here's the thesis. The biggest money isn't in guessing the headline, it's in rotating through the phases. Chaos pays the sellers of certainty, war risk insurance, tankers, low-cost oil. Expensive normal pays security and defense backlogs. Normalization pays the rebuild, EPC, grid upgrades, heavy machinery, while the crisis winners fade. The flip happens the moment the real gatekeepers, underwriters, fleet managers, lenders can price risk like normal again. That's when the market stops paying for fear and starts paying for work. One last word of caution: never trade a single headline. We've shared triggers that allow you to identify what phase we are in. Wait until 2 or 3 phase signals line up and confirm the shift. That's what keeps you from getting whipsawed. If you're finding value in this, turning breaking geopolitics into clean, actionable market playbooks, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The Edge isn't reacting to the news, it's positioning before the crowd. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Your support helps get this in front of more people, and as always, it means the world. See you in the next one.